since you born. Then you live and die. So if tomorrow never comes, it comes at no surprise. Looking death into his eyes, yeah, I witness guys start to recognize, analyze their own demise. Some people wasting time, walking around hypnotized, blinded by success, impressed but can't identify what's real with fake because the money just intensify. Jealousy plus the hate that equals genocide.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Life on Diagonal. I am your host, EJ Briz, and I am extremely tired today. I'm exhausted. Work kicked my butt. Just came from the gym. That's why I'm looking kind of crunchy and like greasy and sweaty and all that stuff. I figure I'll just come in and just record because if I take a shower and start relaxing, I'm not going to record. So might as well do it while everything is on my mind. As always, it's one of my shirts. It's one of my old shirts. So, like I said, I got some like I said in my last episode. I have some new merchandise on my website, my clothing line, Hilly Hyenas. That's www.thehillyhyenas.com. Put all that in the description. As always, if you haven't, make sure you check out my other podcast, my code Still Biz, Thought Outs. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe, do all that wonderful stuff. Yeah, I got bit by something, kind of itching or whatever. So, um, so on this episode, something happened, so it kind of sparked this conversation on what I want to have because I want to get people's opinion on things. Do you comment on posts on social media? You know, we live in the world of social media. We see a lot of things, and a lot of things have changed ever since I was young. So I'm not old. Well, it don't matter. I'm old. Um, when I was coming up, when we was kids, we didn't have social media. We didn't even have computers or like that. So I grew up in a different time, and it's crazy seeing from the time that I grew up until how everything is now, how everything is driven by social media. We have more access to people, we have more access to things, and I'm not gonna be a Debbie Downer and just totally bash social media, but it causes a lot of problems. So um I was thinking about this because I commented on a post. I normally don't comment on a post because you have a lot of people that like to troll. There's a lot of people that like to name call and can't have a regular conversation without going off on the deep end or name calling. And it's crazy because I have numerous conversations with people offline, just in everyday general life, especially people I've disagreed with, and I've never really had anybody disrespect me as much as people disrespect on the internet. Um, you know, internet gives people a lot of false courage. A lot of people think they're tough, and they figure that they're not going to see this person, so they talk to people any kind of way. And I doubt like 95% of the people that talk tough, act tough, and try to be tough on social media is actually tough. um if I have a disagreement with somebody, I have a general conversation with them without the name calling. I don't do the name calling. I'm real big on respect, and no matter what I'm going through, what I'm dealing with, what type of day I'm having, I don't disrespect people. um I demand my respect. Now, that's one thing I don't do. I'm real big on respect. Um, so if you know my co-host, Still Biz, he is always posting something, for people to talk about, and it gets to the point where he laughs sometimes because I tell him like I'm not even gonna comment on your post because you know there was an instance where I comment on his post. I think it was something about Kanye, and especially, I don't want to say this. I don't want to generalize black men. I'll just say men. It's like every time you have a disagreement, I can't even really say men. It seems like when you have a disagreement with people online, it always comes back to people always want to talk about, well, you know, if you disagree with a celebrity, like, oh, well, that person has more money than you. Okay, that's fine. Or it's crazy because everybody on social media is rich. Everybody has more money than the next person on social media. And it makes me seem like, well, there must not be any poor people in this country because everybody rich, everybody's an entrepreneur, everybody has a BMW, nice car. Like every time you get in the, I see it. I see it a lot. You know, with men, it's like every time I read comments and men are going back and forth disagreeing. It's like, well, I got more money than you. I have more money than you. I do this, and I just think that's corny to throw up money because you don't know what the next person has. Like me, for example, I'm not rich, but I'm far from broke. Um, like I'll just put it like that. I'm far from broke. If anything, one thing I'm proud of is if anything is to ever happen to me, my son is well taken care of. So I'm glad I was able to build that foundation. So something happens to me, my son is living comfortably. So that's a accomplishment to me. So, but like I said, I'm far from broke. I'm not living paycheck to paycheck. I have money, saved up, stashed away. Um, I don't want to say stashed away, but I do have things in place for that type of stuff. So it's just like when you start arguing about money, you don't know what the next person have, and I just think a lot of times, a lot of people that be arguing about money really don't have nothing. Even locally, I can see people on locally and they talk about this and they talk about that, and then you run into them in person, you be like, this the person that's online talking about how much money and this is the car they driving, or um their parents look crazy where they need to go to the doctor, the dentist, and all this other stuff. So it's just, it is what it is. um so what made me come up with it, so I commented on a post, and it was a post about um, Joey Swole. So he made a post. He gave a tribute to Hulk Hogan, and I guess people ripped him. Talking about how Hulk Hogan did a lot of racist things, said a lot of racist things, and I commented on somebody else's post that they made, and just basically talking. I didn't disrespect Joey Swole. I don't think I disrespected him. Um, but he put out an apology, and he started off with with all the good that I've done, and how it was something to the source of like all he started off the apology like, out of all the good I've done for people and how I helped out for people. And I made a comment saying that as a man and as adult, we do things wrong, and I just felt like it was a little kid whiny apology. Woe is me. I'm the victim because people jumped on me because of what I did. And, let me apologize, but let me explain, all the good things that I've done. And I just basically essentially said that, I just thought it was lame for him to make himself the victim over something that what people portrayed was wrong. Like, I mean, if he felt like it wasn't wrong, I mean, he shouldn't apologize in the first place. But for him to apologize must, um, you know, he must have felt he was wrong. And I just think it's lame, for him. If you don't know what he does, people send him gym videos, and he talk about how what people did in the video and how they could be better people. And it's crazy how you could sit online and chastise people and tell them how to be better individuals, but then when it happens to you, you want to play the victim card and be woe is me. So I made a comment like that, and then somebody commented. They wasn't at this point. Well, they probably left another comment or whatever. But I mean, they were disrespectful. Um, but it was saying that people judging him, and that's why I don't like certain people on all this. There's people on the left and people on the right, whatever your beliefs is and everything. Um, that it is what it is. I hate when people say like, "Oh, we don't have to have the same beliefs," but we could still interact, be cool. No, I'm like one of the type of thing. It's one of the type of things like we don't have to have all the same beliefs, but a lot of them have to align for me to be around you because in certain things that you may like or you may support or vote for, and I feel like that if that affects my family, my friends, and my son, we can't rock. Vice versa. If you feel like what I do, I have no problems. We all have to live our life a certain way. I'm not going to disrespect you. I'm not going to dog you. That's my that's the how I want to live my life. No matter how anybody looks at it or saying, well, you wrong for that. I don't care. That's how I choose to live my life. I don't disrespect people and I don't down talk people on how they choose to live their life. How you choose to live your life is how you choose your life. And that's how you want to live your life. And it doesn't mesh with how I want to live my life. And I feel like, we can't be cool or we can't, you know, have some type of, personal relationship. So be it. Same with me. So I respect that. So, so me and this person was going back and forth. Like I said, it was pretty, it wasn't really disrespectful, but it did kind of give me the idea to talk about this. Because I want to know what other people do when they like, do you comment on post and what makes you, so I got my talking points, I got my paper. So my talking points is like, do you comment on posts and do you when you see posts, are you quick to engage or quick to scroll? A lot of times I'll scroll. Sometimes I have to be in a certain mood in order for me to leave a comment. And a lot of times if I do leave a comment, it's on something, that's funny because I like to laugh, I like to joke, I like to have fun. So it's like no matter what you try to do, you try to have fun, you try to be serious, there's always gonna be people that disagree or have something smart to say or want to troll. And so you just have to learn how to with me I just had to learn how to just let people be. I'm one of them type of people. I'm not going back and forth online with people, especially if they disrespectful. I mean, we could have a good, general conversation and then we could agree to disagree. But I'm not about to be sitting there arguing with somebody that's 3,000 miles away that I don't know, being disrespectful, calling me names, and the saying something. So, um, sometimes if that happens, I'll just say okay, and then I won't go back and forth. I'll let whoever's else in the comments they can go back and forth or whatever. But I'm not about to go back and forth because for one, I'm not going to continue to be disrespected. I'm not going to disrespect you. We more than likely we're never going to see each other in person, and if we did see each other in person, the conversation wouldn't go like that. So so that's why I'll just tend to scroll. And but sometimes I see stuff and I'll be like, oh, let me comment and see, just leave my, my 2 cents, my opinion. And so like I said, I comment just to kind of have fun. And but it seems like there are people that like to comment so they can challenge people. And I look at it as one of the things like, oh, well, I'm going to go back and forth with this person because I want to show this person or I want to show people that I'm so smart and I don't want to say I'm so woke. I don't know what the new definition of woke is, but there was a definition before what people turned woke into. There was another definition like woke was being like, I'm more aware of situations than you are, and if you're not this, then you're a sheep, and all this other stuff. So, and I see people online all the time going back and forth with comments, and it's just like they do it just to challenge people and just to see like, well, just to show how smart they are. And I look at it like this: you can go back and forth. You may be smarter than me. You can be smarter than me. I'm proud of you. But if you are, what does that solve? We don't win any prize. We don't get any money from this. My bills still need to be paid. Your bills still need to be paid. Um, whatever you say doesn't affect the outcome of any type of money I'm getting, any type of payments I need to do, or anything like that. So those type of people, I just don't understand. I wonder if they just like, yay, I'm smarter, or I feel like I'm smarter, and they make themselves a ribbon and pin it on, like, or give themselves a gold star for the day for arguing with people online. But there's a lot of people that I see. I'm not even people, like, even people locally, that just people like, you put up a post, and I see it on my co-host, when he posts things. There's people that always just leave. There's nothing, never edifying or anything uplifting. There's always something that has to go against the grain or go against what people say, so they can argue with people. And I just think, like, why do you want to argue with people all the time? It's I don't know. It's just weird. They need to start they need to start the debate teams, and maybe that's a new thing they should do. They should start a debate app and have people just sit there and just argue and debate with people all the time, and just, I don't know what they call it, but it's just some people, um it's just like the debate. So let's see. So when people, I think I discussed that. So I just want to know, if you comment or you leave a comment on posts and people are disrespectful, how do you handle that disrespect? Do you go back and forth with them? Do you argue with them? Do you block them? I don't think that I've never blocked anybody. I don't think, because I don't really, like I said, I don't really comment that much for me to block someone. But like I said, I would say, like, if they being off I would just say okay. And it's crazy because you could say okay, and they still want to argue and go back and forth with you. It's like, okay, you got it, you won, you know. And it's just like they still want to go back and forth. So I don't know. It's just um the weird the weirdest thing. And at times it just made me ask myself, is it like, is it worth commenting? Because social media, you use it for business, you use it for family, friends, um people use it for pleasure, and it's like, is it even worth commenting at times, or just having fun? Or a lot of people just tend to go overboard. Like I said, my last episode, um recently, well, I've been back on social media, just looking at stuff. But normally I post and then I log out. And it's crazy because I will log out and I won't get notifications. I see people have sent me messages, sent me this and that. And I'm like, ooh, like, I forgot. Especially like Messenger. Like, I get kicked out of my Messenger all the time. And then when I finally log back in my Messenger, I'm like, I got messages, and it's like, man, like, people think well, I don't want to say I'm ignoring people, but I apologize if I do that. And so, on top of that, have you ever left a comment or made a post and it got so toxic that you had to delete it? And my co-host, I forgot what he posted. He posted. I forgot what he told me he posted, and he said that I think it was when when Takashi was out, and I think that he said he posted something about Takashi, and he said the people in the comments was just ripping him. They was like talking about his appearance and everything. He said, "Man, I just had to take that down because they was getting too personal or whatever." And I remember I put a comment up on TikTok, and I took it down because this female was just like so disrespectful. It just came out of um I was like, man, I'm not going to deal with this. Maybe it's the way that I worded it. Maybe I could be wrong. I mean, I could be wrong that as the way I worded it, but it was when the Diddy trial was going on, and I think it was when they was doing the. I don't want to say when they were doing the Cassie testimony, but it was like the Diddy trial was going on, and like a lot of the secrets was coming out about Cassie, and I made a TikTok saying saying something to the extent like, man, I know it would be hard for me to, be Cassie's husband and hearing all of this stuff come out about my wife. And, I just want to, I said, I was just like, man, I just want to know, like, what would I do in that situation? And, on a lot of things, Cassie was a victim, and I wasn't victim blaming Cassie. And this chick was like, well, she was a victim, and her husband already knew all of this and all this other stuff. And, it's just another man trying to bash Cassie. And I wasn't like trying to bash Cassie, and I wasn't trying to victim blame, because if you know me, I'm an advocate for women. And it was just like, well, maybe I said it wrong, but I was just putting myself, because maybe I was, like I said, maybe I was saying it wrong. And I put myself in the point of view of me, because I am a man. And I was just thinking, like, if it was somebody I had a relationship with, if that was them, how I would feel as a man, maybe I should have put myself in a woman's perspective, and maybe I was being insensitive. So I was like, man, just let me take this down, because I'm not going to be arguing. I will have a conversation, but I'm definitely not arguing with, women online. Back before, I don't even argue with women in person, in my personal life. So I'm definitely not about to do it online. So I'm like, let me take it down. And because I don't want to go through this. I don't want to make it seem like I'm insensitive, or, I'm bashing women or anything like that. So, let me take it down. But I know people that would leave that stuff up because the engagement. And when I talk about stuff, it's just to have fun. I just like to hear other people's opinions and how other people think. And it's not really about engagement I guess if you want to say, like, have a conversation, I guess it is about engagement. But I just don't do anything or just say anything or just add anything, for just unnecessary engagement, per se, I guess. So that's just a little quick thought that I had. I just thought I'd get on this episode and talk about it and just see what people think, and how people react. So what did I learn? I learned that I have a low tolerance for people disrespect and anything that's not going to help, or I'm not with confrontation, especially confrontation with somebody I don't know. What I can do better, and this is what I've been doing, is picking and choosing what I will comment on and how I will comment, how I will word things. On social media, you could say things, and people can misconstrue what you say. You may word things the wrong way, and I feel like when you do, it's like, hey, I didn't mean it that way. I apologize. And whatever backlash you get, it's the backlash you get. It's man up, be an adult. We are not perfect, and we all make mistakes, even though we have people that walk amongst us who think they are perfect. I know a lot of people that they're perfect. They never done anything wrong to anybody. They're the smartest person on the earth. They knew this before everybody else knew this. And, it's just like they're just elite. So, thank you. I got my paper. I'm going to continue to, have my talking points. I'm going to make my paper is part of the podcast now. Last episode, when I filmed it, when I set up the camera, my head was in the camera, but it was cut off. So I'm keeping that episode. I'm not recording that episode. So, if you see any visuals is messed up and everything, I will do better. I am human. I make mistakes, and I apologize. So anyway, thank you for listening to me ramble as usual through another episode on Life on Diagonal. I am your host, EJ Briz. Peace.
Think about it. First you born, then you live and die. So if tomorrow never comes, it comes at no surprise. Looking death into his eyes, yeah, I witness guys start to recognize, analyze their own demise. Some people wasting time, walking around hypnotized, blinded impressed with